Yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Kimbo here, and it's time for an epic discussion video. So with this, it's basically my thoughts on things that I want to see with Beyblade X going forward. So I might as well just sit back, get comfy, and just talk about things. So Beyblade X, at least the first season, is in the books, at least under TT. They're well on with Arc 2, and Hasbro putting out stuff for the for the first season, going through it, going into like wave 3. I'm guessing maybe it'll be like December when we'll start seeing wave 3 on shelves. I'm pretty sure like they'll release it before the end of the year. Only makes sense. But yeah, thus far Beyblade X has been really amazing. If you want all my thoughts and stuff on everything with season 1 under both companies like Hasbro and TT, go and check it out. Made a video talking about that. But now it's time to talk about things that I really want to see with Beyblade X going forward. There's a bit of a mess, but no biggie. So overall, I've enjoyed things with Beyblade X a ton. One thing I definitely want to see going forward, first big time thing, maintaining the balance. By this, I mean not have an insane power creep. Obviously, naturally, with Beyblade, as time goes along, the weight tends to increase that much more. I'm hoping for as long as they possibly can, they can keep the weight balanced and such. So, blades that are, like, thus far, high 30s is, like, the high realm weight-wise, but maintaining that weight between, like, 30, like, low 30s and high 30s would be really dope. Particularly like middle 30s, like adding gimmicks and stuff, all gimmicks and stuff that they want to with the blades, etc. But maintaining that weight of not breaking 40 would be amazing if they could do that as long as possible, because they literally had things balanced big time with the first season of Beyblade X. Even with new bays being introduced, you see how they're adding some really strong, impressive bays, but still maintaining the balance where older stuff is still usable, even from the first season. That's what we want to see, is them maintaining the balance with things for sure. That's with the ratchets. That's mainly with the blades. With the ratchets, of course, just filling in the holes with things. We have a new height of 85 being added with night mail, so we're gonna probably see like other ratchets, like you name it, like 285, 185, 285. Those types of ratchets with the 85 height. We got at least 1 through 9, like number wise. And it's the same thing for even the ratchets that we have for regular heights, like 70, 60, those two, like 80, we haven't gotten like 780 yet, but it shows like some of the ones we haven't gotten yet. We'll see. I'm sure like 780, that being one. We haven't seen an 8 ratchet yet, so I won't be surprised if a future release has an 8 ratchet. Like 860, 870, 880, 885, It shows like all those windows that we see of ratchets that we haven't seen, they have all those to work with. Like 185, we got 160. We haven't gotten 170 yet. We got 180, but we haven't gotten 170 yet. So things like that. And then with the bits, maintaining the balance with the bits. So none of them having crazy insane stamina or LAD. Hexa, ball, elevate being up there, but maintaining the balance by having it where they burst easier. So it's like you can't make crazy spin steel, insane combos. They have the balance of like being able to be bursted if they're hit hard enough, which I think that's really sick, maintaining the balance that way. They learned a lesson from stamina LAD combos, previous generations and such. Maintain the balance with it big time, and it makes it where like bays can topple over that much more with how they've done all of the bits. Like there's a very good balance of things with the system for sure. That's me being a fan, going through Metal Fight, going through Burst, now being a Beyblade X. Like it's very well balanced, I'd say, compared to all the previous generations even before. The game's in a really good state because there's a lot of balanced stuff. There's a lot to work with. That's the beauty of it. One thing I'll mention with this too is I'm one of those people that thinks it's not only just heavier bays that are stronger. People might think that because, like, we've seen it with like more bays getting more weight, hitting harder and such with previous generations. This is a generation where they maintain that balance very well. Even the bays that do have a bit more weight can still be taken out. Like Wizard Rod is strong, but there's ways to beat it. You know what I mean? Using big time attack and shutting it down. Tough to beat it with stamina, but you get the major hits in and manage to send it out. There are bays that can do it, especially with the additions of bays like Samurai Saber and such. You know how to use a bay the right way. It's like rock, paper, scissors. That's the beauty of it. And even with, for example, Whale Wave notoriously being really heavy, having big time attack with it. The way that it's designed, it has gaps underneath. So that way you hit the ratchet, it can burst. You know, it's like you even see with bays like Cobalt Drake, even with like, pretty sure it'd be the case for Aero Pegasus, you know, being strong, having some big time weight with it and such, but having a slower startup because of all that weight. So the bays that are quicker can circle around faster, just physics, you know. Being lighter, circle around with that much more velocity and speed, they can use that if you get a strong launch in and get some big time hits in. It's shown even with like survival battles that I've done. Some of the bays that were thought to be not that crazy put in amazing fights. I've seen Shinobi Shadow circle around and get a major hit and get an extreme finish with the right windup. You know, that's the beauty of it. Just maintaining that balance of like weight with things, you know, between like in the 30s, keeping it in the 30s, between 30 39 grams for the weight. If we start getting into like the 40s, then it'll be like, damn, all right, things are starting to get heavy. But hopefully they maintain that bridge of keeping it like high 30s maximum, you know, even with new gimmicks. But like preferably like mid 30s, low 30s, or like, you know, kind of higher 30s, just somewhere in that realm, maintaining the balance with the weight. Definitely something I want to see because it'll maintain the balance of the game that much more. Same thing with the bits, ratchets. We'll see more ratchets and stuff. But yeah. Another thing, both companies, honestly, exclusives. Love seeing the exclusives they have under TT. Of course, with like the Rare Bay game, like getting Aero Pegasus, the Black Hell's Chain, having their own exclusives, like the Giants, Drawn Dagger. Yeah, definitely want to see more exclusives on Hasbro's side. I love how they've been doing the echoes. Like, you know, we've got like Tusk Mammoth, Talentera, Steel Samurai, Bite, Croc, Yao Kong, Roar Tyranno, Savage Bear, all the exclusives that they've been doing. Really sick echoes of other molds. It would be amazing if Hasbro Bay got its own unique mold, like a mold that we haven't even seen under TT. That'll switch up things in a major way, and it'll switch up the game in a major way as well. People in Japan and other countries will want to get that type of bay. Like, you know, even seeing the exclusives that we gotten thus far, that's why they're making like Terra Swing, Talentera, you know, Bear Scratch, Savage Bear, you know, their Shinobi Knife or Knife Shinobi that's coming with the Beyblade X Zone video game, you know. It's awesome seeing exclusives, and it'll be amazing to see like some exclusive molds under Hasbro. These echoes are amazing. It'll be amazing to see exclusive molds. But if using exclusive, well, if using like the echoes and such for the molds, definitely for Hasbro, I'd want to see more collabs, like how they did the collabs with Transformers, with Marvel, you know, with Star Wars. They were all really sick, but with it using different molds going forward. So even if they retool different molds, like you know, imagine like a more round or more attacking Sphinx Cowl, or like if they use something like Dran Buster, like imagine they switch that up a little bit, like the mold of that, or Hell's Hammer, they retooled that mold to do some different things with it and the contact points on it. That would be pretty dope. Just things like that. Using molds that we haven't seen a ton of, because like Iron Man and Luke Skywalker both have Helm Knight or Knight Shield's mold, and same thing with Optimus Prime. You know, reusing that same mold quite a bit of times, and then similar parts like 480B, especially Luke Skywalker and Iron Man, they had the same exact combo. Definitely like just hoping they make more unique combos going forward, because they literally had the same exact combo, just retooling with the mold a little bit and the colors on it, you know. But definitely want to see some more exclusive like color schemes for it, but exclusive part combos that we haven't seen over and over. You know, there's a bunch of different bits and everything to use at this point. I guess it's because it was beginning Beyblade X with it that we got like these parts retooled. But now that there's more parts out there, you know, it'd be cool if we got like some exclusive parts, even if they made exclusive bits or something. Like if Hasbro's like, hey, we'll have our own like bit shape and everything. I mean, they had like Lightning Pandora and the Pandoras and stuff in their own exclusive bays that we didn't see under TT. It would be amazing if they had that freedom with this gen doing 1-to-1, because that concept was really cool during Burst. They just didn't add the weight that was needed, to make them big time competitors with the TT bays. If they had that freedom to make their own molds with their own bays, how we have like Yell Kong, Bite Croc, with their own exclusive molds that aren't based off previously seen TT ones, that would switch up the game in a major way. You talk about holy crap. As long as they just maintain the balance with it and keep the weight in like 30s, it'd be wild if they made like their own exclusive mold and that thing was like mid or high 30s. That alone would be like, holy shit, switching up the game for sure. But that's something I want to see, definitely. Just like more exclusives. I love how they started off with the exclusives, done very well with it. Want to see more of them, and I know it's pushing it for their own exclusive mold, but at least molds we haven't seen a ton of retools for already. I've shown it with like the big time wide stadium battles I've done, the different molds with the base. You can go and check them out. But yeah, that's definitely another thing I'd want to see with the show. I'd say like more of a big time antagonist. Chrome did get that. Well, I know, okay. Spoiler for the show. Anybody who hasn't seen the show, click away. If you don't want to be spoiled, you've been warned. But so in the first season, how Chrome kind of got that antagonist role at the end, making it where there's an actual antagonist. He felt like the man to beat role, like Louis, except he went down a darker path, solely focusing on like Common X or X or Caruso, but like a full-fledged antagonist. But I mean, even with the show, King saying like it feels like things are going to be chaotic, so it's going to be really, really wild with this. I feel like we're going to have more of an established antagonist with the end of this season as compared to like even season 1. Things are going to be really wild. It's going to be nuts, man. It's like how things picked up that much more with Beyblade Burst Evolution as compared to the first season of Beyblade Burst. Yeah. I'm excited to see how it's going to go, dude. But yeah. Another thing, more gimmicks, which I mean in the context of like how they're doing gimmicks right now. I like it big time with how they're balancing it. Like how Silverwolf has the gimmick of the free spin underneath, Leon Crest with the gimmick of like the big time wall being lined up, Phoenix Rudder having the glide. Like, I know not too much of a gimmick with it, but like the glide and how it like uses it for defense in the stadium, like on the gear ridge, instead of circling around big time. Unless it like floats, kind of like how Whale Wave does. But like how we have for Samurai Saber with I think it's a hard launch and the metal contact points stick out a little bit further, adding that attack, that being a dope gimmick. The free spin aspect of Silverwolf, like gimmicks like that. Even with Nightmail having the bound spike, acting like the nothing driver, where it's like a cushion with a bounce. Like gimmicks like that. You see how they're adding gimmicks and stuff slowly, doing that for more bays going forward, like having a little bit of a gimmick or something. It'll be amazing if they manage. I really would love to see them do the armor gimmick, like how they did on Phoenix, where like a piece of it goes off and it acts like a projectile, or how they did for Diabolos. That'll be amazing. It'll be tough to do that with the bit, honestly, with this gen. But if they manage to do it somehow, that'll be insane. Imagine if they made a bay somehow, some way it was able to split into 2. Like it's the weight of a normal bay, but then it splits into 2 and it could fight as 2 or something like that. If they managed to do that, like how we had like Samurai Changer, or like one of the MS bays, be able to do that, like split into 2, or like the XTS Striker splits into 2. If they managed to make a way for a bay to do that, that would be insane, man. But like, would that count as a burst or what? Or maybe if one of the pieces get KO'd, it counts as a KO or something. Or if both pieces get KO'd, like the bounce with it, both pieces get KO'd, it's like 4 points or something. Who knows? But yeah, it's definitely something I'd want to see, just like some gimmicks. Like I said, the freaking armor gimmick, if they manage to do like the Phoenix armor type gimmick again, that shit would be nuts. But yeah, I love how they're doing the gimmicks, like small little things added with the base. There's clever ways they're doing so, like with the free ball, using like the stem of the ratchet in order to make it like more free spin, and then using the stem of the ratchet for the bound spike to make it bounce, which that's really, really freaking sick, man. But yeah, that's another thing I definitely want to see. I'd love to see, like, for stadiums, if they had a stadium that's kind of like the Super Attack Stadium under Metal Fight Beyblade. So a stadium that has like the 4 pockets. It's not like it's shaped like a regular BB10, but the inside point with how it's shaped. If there were 2 rails, could you imagine that? like how there's a rail on one side that go around, if there were two of them. So on both sides, there were rails and they're meant to meet. So imagine two bays sitting in the stadium and then they both get caught on the rail on each side. That impact right there at that middle, boom, like it'll be insane. I know it might be like a safety hazard with that, but I think that'll be really nuts having a rail on two sides. Maybe they make the surface of it a little bigger so it's not as compact. But yeah, I think that'll be pretty freaking dope or pretty wild seeing a stadium that has two rails with it instead of like the one extreme line on the one side. That'll be pretty crazy. But yeah, that just more diverse stadiums, like seeing just how far they could take like the X system, because we got like the double extreme stadium. Like, what other gimmicks can they do with the stadium as well? Imagine if they managed to do a double decker stadium. I saw like somebody made a video, but it was of a stadium that literally had a rail that shot out to the second level, but had a rail go up, and if the bay goes quickly enough, it could go up that rail. That would be insane if they had like a double decker stadium that worked like that. If they managed to make it work, that would be freaking insane. But yeah, just different kind of gimmick stadiums, like how they got diverse with burst stadiums going along, you know, testing the waters with different kinds of stadiums, doing the same thing for Beyblade X. I'd love to see a Mugen Stadium, like a Beyblade X Mugen Stadium. So you have a bay in the middle with a Mugen piece, like how we've seen with Metal Fight Beyblade. I don't know if they had a Mugen Stadium. They had like a Magnet Stadium under the Plastic Gen, but they had the Mugen Stadium with the prototype Nemesis Stadium and Metal Fight Beyblade, and then of course the Mugen Stadiums for like Apollo and Artemis Eclipse, you know, as well as the Valkyriac Mugen Stadium 2 during Burst. So it'd be cool if they made like a Mugen Stadium at some point. That way you can get like good practice in with a bay, and then maybe have like a stock combo for it or something. But yeah, I think that would be pretty dope having that back, and just diverse stadiums, especially like under Hasbro, some more diverse stadiums, because they got diverse with some stadiums during Burst. People might not like Burst because they took away a lot of the gimmicks and everything and the weight, which is definitely fair, but they created a huge roster of unique stadiums, honestly, for the bays. So yeah, that is one thing I'll definitely give Hasbro props for with Burst, despite the first two seasons, you know. Well, besides the first two seasons. After that, obviously cutting gimmicks and everything. I say it as it is. But they made some really, really wild stadium designs that are honestly pretty dope. So, yeah, diversity in stadiums. And yeah, those are the big time things. One of the things that I do appreciate about this is that they put in a lot of female representation with the show. With Metal Fight, they did a pretty decent. I mean, they had like Hikaru, they had Sophie, they had Lyra, they had quite a few characters. I wish they would have had a female legendary blader. That would have been pretty dope. But yeah, they had Ren during Zero G, but during Burst, it was like vacant. They didn't have like really any female characters who had their own unique bays up until Ilya, and that was in season 6, and then Quadra Pre under season 7, and that was like Hasbro exclusive season. You know what I mean? But the representation they've been giving with this, like having Mako Maiden, having like Aineki, having, you know, so many different bladers. I mean, you got Cho, you got Uni, you got Multi, you got so many freaking female characters, their own unique base. You got the new character, I don't know her name yet, but she's on her samurai saber. But you got her, you got just so many different female bladers, and it's so good to see that representation, man. For sure. It drove me nuts that there weren't that many in Burst, but that they had so many already with Beyblade X, and keeping it up, adding even more is awesome, man. I think the owner of Crimson Garuda, you know, female, and you know, like I said, Samurai Saber, the owner, being female. It's awesome, like seeing that representation for sure. So yeah, and also that they include like older characters with it to show like older demographic, like how there's an older demographic with Beyblade, you know, younger characters, but also the way older demographic like Quinn Manju, really, really sick. X's trainer or master, you know, like Ginru, him being a part of it, really, really sick. There's a lot of stuff that I really love with this generation, like the balance of the game in real life, the balance of things even with the show. I love how they're going at a slower pace. You know, definitely want to see them explore like the other floors of the tower. because, you know, Persona shot up to the 70th floor as of me making this, but you know, there's like, they talk about the 88th floor with racks. What about the floors like 71 through 87, and then 89 through 99? Because 100 obviously being Pendragon, but also with the X, there's a whole nother tower. They basically did go up one side of the tower, so the X, the other part, is the other part of the tower. So it's like, damn, okay. So are they gonna have to work up the whole other side of the tower and get to that 100th floor too, or to the top of that 100th floor? Pendragon versus whoever's on the other 100th floor, you know, in an epic battle once like things return with Chrome. But just seeing that epic showdown, I want to see epic battles and such. One thing as well, possibly more left rotation, because I loved how much left rotation there was in Burst. It made it where there's a balance of like right and left rotation, but maintaining the balance with it, which I know it's tough to do because you gotta be careful with the shape and everything. Like they did well, Cobalt Dragoon, maintain the balance so it's not overpowered. Just thinking of that with other bays as they go forward, because I think it's inevitable before we get like defense, maybe defense, stamina bays that are left rotation, but then they'll like probably have a balance on it by making the bit on each bay like burst easy, like kind of how they did for the elevate bit, so that way people can't overuse it. Like it's not OP, it can be bursted and such. But having the balance with all those bays in their own ways, you know, I don't think Cobalt Dragoon will be it. They're gonna add more left rotation because there's Lightning El Drago. So yeah, it's only a matter of time. I just hope they maintain the balance with it when left rotation inevitably comes in that much more, besides El Drago and Dragoon. I mean, Dragoon S is coming. It's left rotation. Looks like it's going to be balanced pretty well with that. Shouldn't be OP. Just as long as they maintain the balance with it. And it's not like left rotation spin steel taking over things big time again. It's just like the big time thing with me is the balance. Maintaining that balance. Because they've done so really, really well. And I just want to see them keep the foot on the gas and continue with this level of balance that they have. But yeah. Anyways, guys, I guess that is going to do it for this epic discussion video on things that I want to see with Beyblade X going forward. Not only season 2, but just going forward as well. Let me know your thoughts on things that you guys want to see in the comments. But hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, be sure to slice that like button down below. Let me know how I did. If you're new to my channel, definitely be sure to subscribe for some epic content because I upload daily. And if you haven't already, be sure to ring that bell by my channel name to be notified whenever I upload a video. One other thing I forgot to mention. Since we're seeing rubber bits, it'll be kind of cool to see some kind of different, diverse rubber bits. So if we had like rubber point, and by this I mean the outside part of point being plastic, but the inside part being rubber with the point. So when it hits the point, it makes it super defensive, but then it has like the outside part to where it could circle around and have stamina with that. But it ups its defensive power staying in one spot. I can imagine us getting a rubber ball at some point. Big time defense and friction with it. Not as much stamina, of course, but it'll be super defensive with that. More metal bits would be amazing to see, like metal rush. There'll be like a metal flat. Metal point would be really interesting because having more weight, or even like if the center part of the point, it's like I said for rubber point, it's that metal point, like the metal part on the inside, and then the outside being plastic or something like that. So it has more stamina. Yeah, just some ideas like rubber bits, metal bits. Just maintain the balance with them because I mean we got rubber Excel, so it's only a matter of time before we see more rubber bits. Just maintaining the balance with them so they're not OP. But yeah, I guess that's basically it, you guys. And until next time, it is your boy Kimbo signing off. See you guys later. Thanks so much for watching. Till then, stay awesome and cool. Shoot, or let it rip. I'm up out of here.